anybody who's just joining us now, again, this is for business funding. This is for when you're getting on the phone with business funding clients, dealing with objections and dealing with them, basically telling you never call again, leave me alone, kind of thing. Now, before we do dig into this call, I want to preface it with doing a little bit of research. So you don't want to just call up anybody and just say, hey, you want money? It just doesn't work like that. You need to know who you're talking to. You need to have an idea of what industry they're in, what's going on with their business, right? So in this particular instance, we're looking at pharmacies, right? And in looking at pharmacies, excuse me, we are taking a look at their website. Something you should always do when you're calling up any business funding client. Have their website up in front of you. Have their email, if they responded to your email, in front of you, right? Very important, because it's going to give you little bits of information that are helpful into getting a conversation started, so you have a little bit of insight as to what's going on in the first place. It's very important. It's very important. Otherwise, you're just very general in what you're saying. You don't sound any different than anybody else. They're not interested in what you're saying, right? And so it's important that you do that. So we're going to do a little presentation for you here, give you an idea, open up into a little bit of Q&A. We do have some news for you on the wholesaler front and monetizing those conversations for all of you a little bit later in the call. So anyway, we'll get started here. So Dave, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Terrific, terrific. So I'm just going to call in and we'll take it from there, all right?
Cool.
All right. Hey, Dave, this is Ryan Williams with Ion Capital Solutions. Listen, you probably don't remember me. I do follow up with you a couple times a year. I was just looking on your website, and I see that you're hiring for the pharmacy. Do you need some capital for your expansion goals here? Do you remember me?
Well, no, I don't really remember you, but I got customers waiting. I got to go.
I understand, and that's exactly why you're hiring, right? Nobody has an S on their chest, and if you're sitting there and you're talking to clients across the counter at the same time, you're talking to me on the phone, you have to stay late, hit the books, fill up the inventory, it's a lot.
Yeah.
But what if this call is exactly what you need? I can get you capital to fill those new hiring positions where you don't have to dig into your own pocket. It's going to free up cash flow. It's going to give you the freedom you need to work on other aspects of the business. If I was able to do that for you, David, what would that do for your bottom line?
Well, it might help, but last time I had a bad experience, the guy told me he could do one interest rate. It turned out to be a lot higher, and it just didn't work out like that.
Understood. Well, smoke and mirrors is something you'll see in this space. It is shark-infested waters, okay? But with that being said, there's a reason, and it's usually risk, that gets you a product or a term or a rate that's unfavorable. So if we can uncover what those reasons are, I can absolutely get you on the road to a better future. So tell me, what was your daily payment last time? Did you get a daily payment? Was it a short term? Did you get a weekly payment? How did it go?
Well, that was the thing. I told him I didn't want a daily or a weekly payment, and that's what I got stuck with.
And that's what you got stuck with. Got it. And how long was the term?
It was 8 months.
8 months. Okay. All right. Fair enough. And it was the daily you got or the weekly?
It was weekly.
It was a weekly. Okay. Fair enough. Well, there's a couple things you have to understand that go into this. And it really begins with risk, right? So there's the funded amount, David, right? How much money's actually going out the door. And then how long that money's out the door. Based on that, the interest is going to go up because the lender and the syndicating partners investing the monies into the deal are taking risk by leaving that money out the door for 8 months, right? Now, they want the weekly payment or, hey, even the daily payment because they don't feel comfortable leaving that money swaying in the wind and with the hopes that you're going to pay back by the end of the month. So they'd rather you pay by the end of the week. They can pay closer attention to the file and make sure that you're paying on time. Now, let me ask you this, David. Is this the first loan that you've taken? The weekly payment?
The weekly payment? Actually, that was the second. I got one a long time ago, but that was the second one I got.
Understood. Understood. Did you pay that back on time? Did you stop payments? Did you default? Anything like that?
I missed one payment, but that was it.
Understood. Understood. And so what I'm trying to understand now, because obviously I think you want that monthly payment, you want that extended term, is what the issues are. Why are you still stuck with that weekly payment, right? So let's dig into your FICO score for a minute, right? Let's take a look at what cash flow looks like, negative days. So what's your credit currently, David?
620.
620. Understood. Understood. Okay. And what are you grossing a month currently?
About 58,000.
58,000 a month. Okay. Would you say that's consistent, or do you have kind of high highs, low lows? It jumps around throughout the year.
I mean, it's fairly consistent. It drops a little every now and then, but not any more than like maybe 20%.
Okay. Got it. Got it. And what's the loan amount you just took out?
It was 70,000.
70,000. Really? Okay. And so when did you get that money? Are you still paying it off, or?
No, it was an 8-month term, and I got it 5 months ago.
Understood. Understood. Okay. So if you took 70,000, I'm going to go ahead and guess you got something around a 138, 140 factor, right? So I'll say it's the
142.
I'm sorry?
142.
You got a 142. Okay, times a 1.42. Got it. So that's 99,000. You said you had an 8-month term. Got it. Got it. Got it. Okay, so you're probably looking. You said you have another 3 months, right?
Yeah.
Got it. So you got around $40,000 you still have to pay off. Now the good thing is you're halfway through your term here, so we could probably work out a payoff net situation for you, where we could pay off your remaining balance. You can net the rest, and by doing that, we can get some capital in your pocket. That'll help you with these new hires, right? Now, what I need to understand before we even get the ball rolling here is, what are the problems with the file, right? What is your average number of deposits in the month?
Oh, pretty much every day.
Oh, you have a deposit every day. So at the very least, 30 deposits a month.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. Do you have negative days, excessive negative days? 1, 2, 3, 4. How many negative days would you say you have in the month?
I maybe average 2 a month.
2 a month. Okay, that's really the maximum any lender wants to see. We do want to clean up those negative days. That's one of the things that can stand in between you and getting the weekly versus the daily, or the monthly versus the weekly. We'll take a look. And you said your FICO was around 620. Okay, so we have some good bits of information here, but what I really need to understand, David, in order to get you the money you need so you can cover these new hires, you can expand, is, are you going to pay back the money on time, and are you telling me everything about your loan history? One of the biggest deal killers out there is when you tell us about a specific loan, and then we find out that there's another one, or that there's a hidden default, right? Not to say that you're not being honest with me, but sometimes it could be from years ago and you forgot about it. All of a sudden it comes up and it kills the deal in the last minute. So I just need to know this, because it's you and I, Dave, versus the lender, and I'm going to best position you in front of the lender to get you the money you need. That's what I do for a living, okay? So do you have any defaults in your past?
No defaults, but I had a bankruptcy about 2 years ago.
Is it fully satisfied?
Yeah. Like the 2 years ago was satisfied that day.
Okay, that's one of the things that can bring you into a bit of a higher risk category, but you are past that 2-year mark, which is a good thing, so it shouldn't prevent you from getting funded, all right? So this is terrific. This is terrific. Listen, I know you got to get off the phone. You still have your customers waiting or whatever else. I'm going to need a couple things from you. I'm going to need an application filled out. I can do that over the phone with you here right now, and get it done for you. I'm also going to need 3 months bank statements. If you want, I can log in and pull those myself. You can send them over however you want to do it. If you have an assistant there I can talk to get this stuff done while you're working, that's fine too. How do you want to go about it?
Well, I can get you the bank statements this afternoon.
Understood. Okay, fair enough. How about the application? Can we do it over the phone now? What do you think? I just need 5 minutes. We'll get it all set. I'll send it over to you for a signature. We'll get the ball rolling.
I mean, if I could get a couple customers that are waiting out of the way, then we can get that done.
Understood. And as much as you want to get those customers out of the way, let's be honest, Dave. If we don't have this conversation now, you go on with your day, maybe you go on with your week, we may never get through it. But the bottom line is this: if I can put money in your pocket, it's going to get you those new hires, and it's going to get you away from behind that desk, and you're not going to have to deal with this stuff anymore. So if we could just take 5 minutes and get this application filled out, I promise you it's going to be worth it.
All right, if it's only going to take 5 minutes.
All right, let's get the ball rolling. All right, cool. So thanks, Dave. Now, there's a lot of directions that call can go in, and depending on the answers you're getting from the client, depending on the questions that they're asking, You may encounter other challenges. For instance, they may say something to you along the lines of, well, the last time the interest was too high. You have to dig into the risk, right? What was your credit? What was your repayment history? What industry are you in? How many loans do you currently have, right? So, for instance, if a client has two loans, one's a weekly payment and an 8-month term. The second loan is a daily payment and a 6-month term. That third position, if the lender would even entertain it, is never going to be better than the first two positions. Nobody wants to get in line behind other lenders and offer better terms. So you're going to find that when you talk to the client, they're going to say, hey, I got a daily payment with one, I got a weekly with another. I don't like that. I want a monthly payment. Can you give me the monthly payment? Of course I can't. You currently have a daily and a weekly payment. But if we can pay these off and get in a first position, meaning we've paid off your other loans and now we're the only loan, we can start looking at getting you better terms and rates. I can do that for you, but we got to get rid of these other loans, right? So it's understanding how to pull the client to your side of the table, how to help them understand how to get what they want. By being that expert, they'll work with you, right? Another thing is they may say to you, they've had bad experiences in the past, or my credit sucks, or whatever. Okay, what's your credit, right? Oh, it's 550, right? Okay, well, we do have some programs for you. They're higher risk. Yes, they're higher interest, but we can still put cash in your pocket. We can help you improve your credit by having a positive payment history to where it's reporting to the bureaus, and your credit will improve. You're never going to change it by just sitting idle. But if you take steps to improve it, we can even issue credit repair. You can get into a higher category, a better bracket, and we can start to get you in a better position. But at the end of the day, you need money, right? That's why I'm talking to you in the first place. Now, one of the best tools in your utility belt when you're talking to these clients about money is, if I was to give you money today, what could you do with it tomorrow, right? So for instance, if I was talking to Dave right there, and he's like, he had mentioned to me, I need $70,000, right? Okay, let's say I gave you $70,000. What would you do with that money at the end of the year? What could you turn that money into, right? How much money? How much to your bottom line? He says, I don't know, $250,000. You got to understand, the answer you're going to get from the client, they want to impress. It's their business. They take pride in it, right? So they want to believe that what you give them, they're going to be able to turn into gold, right? Oh, I'll turn that into an extra $200,000, $300,000. Oh, terrific. So who cares what the interest is on a $70,000 loan? That's just small potatoes compared to your extra $250,000 that you're going to put together at the end of the year. Let's get it done. Let's put this money in your pocket so we can get the ball rolling. How many new hires do you need? Right? What's that going to cost you? Okay, if we put that money in your pocket for those new hires, it frees up your existing cash flow so that you can invest in other parts of the business. You can invest in inventory, right? Maybe you're expanding into a different, and opening up a new location. Maybe you're expanding the pharmacy itself, and you're branching out a little bit, and you need a little bit of new construction money. Right? I can help you there. You have to dig in and then let them know that you can offer them money for these things. And then if you were to give that money to them, what kind of result would that get for them? Get them emotionally connected to the product, to the money. Get them to start thinking about what that future would be like with that money in their pocket. And then write that down and hold them accountable to it later on. So when they're going through it and you've been through the motions and you pitch them the offer and they're like, I don't really know. You get back in front of them, you say, hey, remember, you don't want that daily payment anymore. You want the weekly payment. You don't want that weekly anymore. You want the monthly payment. You don't want crappy credit anymore. You want to improve your credit. That $70,000 is going to buy you $300,000 at the end of the year. Who cares about the interest? Take the money. Get that extra $300,000, expand. Your goal here is not to get a loan. Your goal here is to expand your business, to get new hires, whatever it is, to get to that end of the year bottom line where you're making more money. That's you gotta pay to play, baby. It's how it works. It's how it works, right? But I can be your money guy, and each time you work with me, as long as you're paying back on time, we're gonna get you better rates, better terms. We'll get you on that road to success. For one day, we can get you that super extended term with the monthly payment, lower interest. You're sitting pretty. Right? And so these are the things you kind of have to say. This is the way you have to have about you. You have to be able to pull out your calculator sometimes and show them. For instance, and we've had calls like this, right? If they tell you, oh, last time I got $40,000 over, I got $40,000 over 6 months, and I got it was what a 1.38. It was 38%. It was $5,000 that I had to pay back over 6 months, and I ended up getting stuck with a $438 daily payment. It's just too expensive. It puts too much pressure on cash flow. I don't like the product. I don't want to deal with it. No thanks. I don't want money. You can't just say, okay, my product sucks. I'll see you later. You have to be willing to say, well, hold on a second. If you had gone with me, okay, let's just compare apples to apples, and I was to give you that same 138, right? So it's $55,200 payback, but instead of 6 months, I gave you 12 months. Well, if we were to give you that 12-month term, you'd have a $4,600 monthly payment. Now, if again, comparing apples to apples, if we were to go with the daily payment, that'd be a $219 daily payment. We'd literally cut your payment in half. So think of all the cash that would free up for you in the month. Would you agree that cutting that payment down in half and your monthly expenditure would increase your cash flow to where you wouldn't have that kind of stress on the bank account? I bet you wouldn't have any more negative days. I bet you wouldn't have any more issues paying back or paying your employees or having light inventory. Would you agree? 9 times out of 10, they're going to say yes because they love the notion, the idea of having half the payment. This is how you reel them in with bits of information like this. So anyway, does this stuff make sense to everybody? Have any questions about what we're talking about here?